Greetings and happy Friday. Welcome to a Friends of Lax904 update. Just wanted to drop you a note, once again say thanks and provide you with some updates on what's going on in the lacrosse world and what's upcoming this weekend. So, start off with a little anecdote from last night. I was out at Ponte Vedra High School, Ponte Vedra versus Nice, great rivalry. But the story I want to tell has to do with current JU Dolphin, former Ponte Vedra Shark, Reed Smith. I saw Reed and Davis Smith there watching their old team, and Reed was up in the bleachers, but then he was walking towards the exit/concession stand area, and all these little Ponte Vedra Lax kids, probably anywhere from 4th to 8th grade. I lose track of ages nowadays, but they all had their very cool Ponte Vedra youth lacrosse uniforms on. They looked like something out of the 70s or 80s from Johns Hopkins with the porthole mesh. That's not the story, but it was pretty cool. So they see Reed coming up, and they all start yelling, "Coach Reed, Coach Reed!" And he gives them a wave, and kids are like, "There's my coach. Did you see my coach score 2 goals against Duke last week?" And there's like the Pied Piper with all these little kids, probably over 20 of them, running around with their sticks, and it was just pretty cool to see. We see Reed out there at JU, but to those little kids who he coaches in the summer, it's Coach Reed. And they were all out at the JU game last week to watch Reed's performance and JU's performance. So I just thought that was pretty cool. And then I saw former JU Dolphin, former Nice Panther Bobby Stockton was there watching his old team. And then coaching Nice, former JU Dolphin Max Gorowski with a few other JU guys helping him out. The game ended up going Ponte Vedra's way. The score was 13-7, which is a lot closer than many people expected. Really great performance by Cannon Houseman. He had 5 or 6 goals maybe. And then freshman J.P. Dolan had, I think, 4 goals. So keep an eye on that kid, number 50 for Ponte Vedra. But Nice was pretty impressive. They've got a strong defense, good goalie play, and they've got some goal scorers. They might be the 3rd best team in our area. Bulls and Ponte Vedra. Bulls, Ponte Vedra, 1-1A. And then it might be Nice. So we'll keep an eye on how that turns out. Creekside and some other teams might have something to say. The Wednesday night, I was out at Fletcher. Jim Applegate and I went out to watch Fletcher and St. Augustine. It was a good game. The final score was 8-4. St. Augustine on top of Fletcher, so it was good to see Coach Rhino out there. Got a chance to catch up with him. He was the guy who started, along with Patty Lombardo, the Ponte Vedra Predators' first youth team in these parts. And then I helped Rhino for 5 or 6 years, and Coach Applegate jumped in. So we had the 3 of us together. It was good to see. Coach Rhino said he had 50 kids try out for the team at Fletcher. I think 35 or 40 are on the team. So that's really good news and speaks to the growth, especially outside of St. Johns County. We need to get those Duval schools to strengthen, and Coach Rhino's doing his part. So let's talk about tomorrow. Today's Friday, tomorrow's Saturday. At noon, I'll be out at JU. I'll be calling the Marist game. I mentioned on the radio show last week that Jacksonville hasn't had a lot of success against Marist, and they've played a few times. And Coach Galloway said that he's never coached against them, and I lose track of time. I remember 2011, 2012, and 2013. I had to go back and look to see. I just had that feeling like Marist has had the best of us, not good experiences. So I went back and looked, and it was a 1-goal loss in 2011. It was the score was 9-8, 9-7 in 2012, and 14-11 in 2013. So 3 consecutive years in the MAC, 3 years that Marist beat up on Jacksonville, a couple of close games, and 3 years that the Marist fans did their best to get on my nerves. Let's put it that way. Had a conversation with Coach Kerwick this week, who was the coach at JU in 2011, that 1-goal game in the MAC. And he mentioned he's coached so many games over the years at Cornell, Jacksonville, Georgetown, Hobart. And he said he remembers that game. He remembers the disappointment. He remembers the Marist players and the fans and that sense of entitlement. And they've always seemed to look down on us here in Jacksonville. So my message is to JU is let's end this 3-game Marist win streak. And please, I feel pretty confident that that's going to happen. When it comes to the game, 2 guys to keep an eye on for Marist, Jojo Pareca and James Lyon, 30 goals and 23 goals last season. Pareka's on the Tuarton preseason watch list, so keep an eye on him. But they're struggling. They've given up, let's see here, 20 goals against Rutgers and 18 goals against Binghamton. So they lost 20-8 and 18-11. So they're averaging 19 goals a game, 19 goals against per game. Their goalies are averaging 37% save percentage, so that's pretty low. And their face-offs, they're at 32%. So two key areas combined for 69% when you want to be above 100. So I think there's some real opportunity at both of those spots for Jacksonville to exploit Marist and show off Jacksonville's depth and talent. Last week I caught up with Luke Milliken after the game against Duke, and he had mentioned that the team found their identity, the defense found their identity between Hopkins and Duke, and that identity seems to be trust each other, trust your individual matchups, but also trust that the guy next to you's got your back, and coordinating the slides and getting to know the guys around you and when they like to be aggressive, which way they like to turn their guys, and working as a unit. I think Jacksonville's going to come a long way, and we're going to see that this week. The short stick defensive middies, both playing one-on-one defense and in those transition scramble plays, whether it's Deacon or Garrity or Denault or Wanovich or Denninger. I mean, I just named 5 top-tier players, so they're very deep. Not sure of Denninger's availability. He got banged up last week, but we'll see. So the defense, the rope unit, the the LSMs, the young guys are growing up, and I know Coach Galloway has confidence in that unit as well. So that takes us to the offense. The attack with Griner, Dylan Watson, and Jackson Intrieri. Don't know Waldbaum's status. I don't expect him back yet. But even the guys behind them at attack, they are deep. And because of the emergence of the Jacksonville offense from the midfield with Galloway, we know what we know what Ethan Lamont can do, and Marshall McGuire. And now you've got Jack Taylor emerging as a threat and a power as a freshman on the midfield, along with Reed Smith, who's coming into his own. And then the other young guys, Brown and Angle, and then the third middies. You're going to see McKenna, and you're going to see a few more guys out there at rotating in either with the second middies or completely third midfield line. And I think this is a game where we're going to see a number of JU Dolphins score their first goal of the season, and even their first goal of the JU careers for some of the new guys. It's going to be an opportunity for guys like Will Hardy to get a lot of playing time and start to get the confidence at the D1 level. So I'm excited about seeing the midfield unit and the attack unit playing together, and the problems it causes for defenses. Who are we going to pull? We have 4 long pulls, and we've got 6 strong offensive middies over two lines, and with the attack is what I mean. So they're going to have to make some tough decisions. You pull the attack and you pull Galloway, and then next thing you know, Ethan Lamont's getting underneath, or Marshall McGuire's running through people, or Reed Smith's catching and shooting as the defense spins, and Jack Taylor's doing it all, whether it's that amazing shovel goal he had, time and space shooting, penetrating. It's an exciting time for the JU Dolphins. They're off next week, so they can run all of the gas out of the tank as they get through Marist and get ready for a week off in preparation for High Point in Charlotte. So can't wait to get out there and call the game. Hope to see you there. Tomorrow night, Flagler hosts Florida Tech, a team that beat them up pretty badly last year. So it'll be a good measuring stick game for Flagler. They had a rough one against the national champs, number 1 ranked Tampa this week. So it's a short turnaround, but it's a deep team. And I'm excited to see if they can pick up where they left off against Embry-Riddle, that first game of the season that ended up being a win. I know that Coach Galloway has run a lot of players through, so I don't think conditioning is going to be a problem. So I'm excited to see if Flagler can steal that second victory, and I'll be calling that game as well. And then Sunday morning on the radio show, we'll have Coach Galloway, Coach Tom West of Bowles, previewing his game next week against Pope from Georgia. They had a nice win, challenging win this week against Cardinal Mooney down in the Gulf Coast of Florida. So they're coming off a win. They're home. They're deep. On the radio show, we'll talk about the number of players on that team, from Caleb Coleman to Job, the goalie, to Surface, and can go on and on. I always leave guys off unless I name that whole roster. The Borees, they're so deep. They are going to make a run for a state title this year in the small school classifications. So we'll leave it at that. Once again, thank you. Sign up for the newsletter in the pinned tweet. Go to @Lax904 on Twitter. See you at JU. See you at Flagler. And you can hear me on the radio on Sunday morning. Thanks. Have a great weekend.